wanted to take a little bit of a different path today and talk about some of the negative side of AI. As much as I love all the possibilities with artificial intelligence, there are some things we need to think about as we use this technology. And one of them is the issue of bias. So, have you ever applied for a job in your life?
Ever?
Ever in
Nah.
your life?
Yeah, actually, I have a number of times. I'm currently working.
So you probably have a resume, right?
Yes.
So there was a few years ago a company that said, okay, we want to make it easier. We have all these resumes coming in with information about all these people, and it takes a long time to go through them. So let's just use AI to filter out the resumes and find the top candidates for us. They knew there's this issue with bias in AI. So they said, we're not going to give it any information on gender because we don't want it to accidentally say, oh, only hire men. But guess what happened?
It was able to know genders anyway, to learn
It
gender.
figured it out anyway because it learned it from the data. So it had all these examples of, 10 years of history. And most of the people who applied to this company were men. And so it learned that a great resume is a man's resume. And so if somebody mentioned a women's only university, their resume got downgraded because it had never seen that university before. If somebody mentioned, hey, I'm president of my women's chess club, the resume got downgraded because of the word women's in the resume. If
I'm going to
somebody,
take out every female mention in my resume.
I know you should. And certain verbs also that men use more, like execute, raised the resume, upgraded the resume. And so basically, the AI system ended up having the same biases that we see that humans have. And obviously, when the company realized, they shut this down. It was not what they wanted. They didn't want a biased system. The problem is that AI learns from data, and some of this data can have the same biases that humans have. It's human data. Yes.
Question. You said what was why that verb? Why were verbs better?
Execute. Oh, so men use verbs like that, like execute type verbs, more than men and more than
More than
women.
women, really?
And yeah, and women don't use like strong verbs as much in their resumes for some reason, which is bad. But and so it just saw a lot of those verbs in resumes of people who got offers. So it said, oh, that's somebody who just puts in the word execute is more likely to get an offer. So that's a good resume. And women, I guess, we're not as forceful in how we talk about what we've done, and which is not great, but that doesn't mean we're not as good for the job. And so it
I
ended
will
up
add, execute this, hire me.
I know it is good to know what how these systems, also just by understanding how the systems fail and become biased, you could learn what to do for yourself. And the truth is that is how some people outsmart AI. If you understand AI and how it works, you could really outsmart systems. So for example, there was when the pandemic hit, a lot of I don't know if you did this in your school, but a lot of schools had AI do grading because everything was remote.
Oh, no, I did not, but I should.
The problem is the way these systems worked is they looked for if you have like a big box and people are filling it in with an answer, it looked for the presence of certain words. Like, oh, if it mentions, this word, then that's the correct answer. And some parents told their kids, parents who are very tech savvy, if it's one of three or four things, just put in all four things. And they did that and they got it right because they had the right word in there. And now, if you were somebody whose parent you were less tech savvy or your parents were less tech savvy, you wouldn't know to do that, and you'd be getting worse grades than your friends, which obviously is also terrible. It's another example of a different kind of bias. It's like more that people who understand how AI work could really outsmart the systems. You see it with resumes too. I don't know if you've ever noticed a lot of people have these huge keyword lists on their resumes now. Those are people who know how AI works and they want to make sure their resume will not be eliminated. So they know that the AI is looking for the presence of a certain word. So if you mention Java and you may not even know Java, but you used it once, now the system is going to find you. And so that you will see sometimes these lists of keywords on resumes. And those are people who know how AI works.
Oh
That's
man,
why they employ them.
I don't have keywords on mine. Do you have keywords on yours?
I don't. So AI ignores my resume. I don't like it. It bothers me. But the truth is, it makes sense if you're it makes sense if you want to make sure your resume will not be eliminated.
How many companies use AI to, for recruiting versus
A
customer
lot. Many of them do because they get so many resumes. It's too hard to have a human go through all of them.
success?
So that's the issue I wanted to bring up. What's interesting is somebody just created a tool that you could see this. We know that bias is there really in every AI system, but when it comes to images, we talked last time about text to image AI systems, and you could see the same bias because it's learning from images on the web, and those images were tagged by people or they're humans that have bias. So I wanted to show it to you because I think it's a really interesting way to highlight AI bias. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this is called Stable Diffusion Bias Explorer. So you can use different, you could also use DALL-E. Remember we talked about some of these different text to image systems that use AI to create images.
Yes.
So if you want, you could try and compare, for an example, if you want to see what images do you get for, I'm going to say like a self-confident, let's see, a self-confident manager versus and a compassionate manager. What do you think?
How does this connect with the resumes?
I'll show you when we see the images. That'll be easy
okay.
to explain.
So the difference between a self-confident manager and a compassionate. Oh my God, you're gonna do. I was gonna say that male versus female. I was totally gonna say that it's gonna do that.
Yeah, so these images are being generated on the fly. These pictures do not exist, but somehow AI is telling you that if you're a self-confident manager, you're a man. If you're a compassionate manager, you're a woman, which is obviously really biased. So this is the way it connects to resumes. It's not it's a different kind of bias. But it's basically AI is showing a bias that humans have, and that we would hope we don't have to deal with in AI systems, because you could be a compassionate manager and be a man, and you could be a self-confident manager and be a woman. But this is what I like about this tool is it's like a really nice visual way of seeing the problems that we have today with AI systems. It's because it's learning from data. It understands that compassionate somehow is linked to women, and self-confident is linked to men. I wonder, which is terrible. What?
I wonder what it would think of a self-confident, compassionate manager, and what but you can't choose more than one, can you?
Oh, in this tool you can't. You could use it. You could do it directly going into Stable Diffusion and trying to generate the images and seeing what it gives you. But
if you could be both.
Is just, I think, another way of really seeing the bias in the systems. And the more you search for compassionate managers, and you get more and more images of women versus confident managers, it's like this teaches people something. When they start seeing images like this, they get an assumption in their head, and it's obviously not good, and it's something we need to think about as we build AI systems. What?
Yeah, I do see that there's one man who ended up in the compassionate, but no women who ended up in the self-confident file. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's good. At least it is possible to be a compassionate male manager,
but not so possible for our confidence.
But apparently not a self-confident manager. And you can try it with other things. Like, what about ambitious manager? And I'm not surprised. They're
totally not surprised.
All male as well. If you're an ambitious manager, you're not going to
be those are the same images. It didn't change.
Are they the same images?
I don't know. It looks the same to me, but maybe it's not.
Should have regenerated.
Did it? Maybe it did, and it just looked the same.
Let's see, emotional manager. That should give us different images. Yeah, all of a sudden they become women.
Wait, one of them doesn't have a face.
So. Yeah, because it's AI, and AI is not perfect, and it doesn't really know what a person is, so it generates it. Sometimes not very well. But you could see all of a sudden our managers turned female, which is also obviously not good.
So we have two more males there, though, right?
Yeah, and because it's still the word manager, also you can have some males. If we changed it to something that's stereotypically female. What,
Teacher.
oh, that's a good idea. Let's look for teacher. Here. Emotional teacher. Yeah, we got a lot of women. But I wonder what about self-confident teacher?
That's a good one.
Yeah, let's try.
Maybe we'll get a couple of women there.
Yeah, at least a teacher, it's throwing it off. We added a couple of men, but it still has the teacher as women. But you could see this is a real problem when it comes to AI. And if you're working with AI, it's something you have to understand because we need to, figure out how to fix this issue.
Do they have computer programmer?
They do. Would you like to see a computer programmer?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll do self-confident versus compassionate computer programmer.
Computer programmer. Okay, self-confident versus compassionate computer programmer. Maybe there'll be a picture of us there. Which one are
Under
you?
which one? Both.
I know. I was gonna ask, which one are you, the compassionate one or self-confident? Let's see.
Apparently I'm not in either of these.
They're just men no matter what. If you're a computer
programmer, even compassionate.
No matter what, you're a man.
Let's wait. Go to the choices. Let's see. Keep computer programmer, but let's see if we can get a female up there.
We can try to get a female.
Emotional,
honest, gentle.
Oh, pleasant. Oh, come on.
Pleasant programmer.
Pleasant. Come on, pleasant.
No, we still got all men.
Right, man.
Sensitive.
Oh, okay. We'll still get men. So computer programmer is biased.
Still getting men, but this is biased because you have plenty of computer programmers that are women.
Gentle. Let's do that.
Nope. Sorry, can't get a woman. We got one. Okay, we got one. Let's consider this victory and this as a success. But this is a big issue with AI. And so whenever I speak about AI, I feel like you have to mention the side of AI too, and not just all the positives, even though there are amazing things coming from it.